we create typically a brand new email account, and I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you which ones you want to use, which domains you need, etc. But we create a brand new account. We cannot just create a brand new account, sign up for an email mailbox, and just start blasting out cold emails to potential prospects. And the reason is because it's going to flag and trigger all of the spam settings in Google and in Outlook and in Microsoft and Yahoo and Hotmail, and basically every single email provider out there is going to see, hey, this is a brand new domain. They've never sent emails before, and all of a sudden they're sending out like 500 emails a day. This is clearly spam, and they're either going to delete it or throw it in the trash can or throw it in spam and junk, and then nobody is ever going to see your emails. This is why we need to use something called email warm-up. First of all, we need to make sure that we're setting up our email accounts properly. So this means they're called DNS records, and we're making sure that we're copying over the right codes, including a whole bunch of other nerdy stuff like DMARCs and DKIMs and SPFs. We'll cover all of that. The second thing is that we then need to take it through a warm-up process, which means that we're going to be sending and receiving at a controlled, moderate pace a collection of emails to people that look like real email inboxes. And we're going to essentially mimic what a real email inbox looks like. Now, of course, you can do this manually. You can go buy a domain. You can start sending and receiving all kinds of different emails to friends and to family, making sure that they respond, making sure that they drag your email back into the primary inbox, and essentially doing a lot of this process manually. But there are better options, which is to use email warm-up services. Now, couple things. First of all, with High Level, they don't have this feature yet, but they are working on it literally as we speak. I'm sort of like checking my email every hour to find out when they're going to incorporate or allow you to incorporate email warm-up services into that. That said, you do still need to pay for an email warm-up service. This is an additional service, an additional software that we do need to pay for. Fortunately, they're normally not very expensive. Like we can get a very basic one for $30 a month that's going to cover everything that you need. And I'm going to show you exactly the formula that we use towards the end of this training on how many email inboxes we need to set up, how we need to have them structured, and so on and so forth. But regardless, there's going to be a cost associated with that. Fortunately for us, there are alternatives right now, depending on the time that you're watching this video. There is either a lifetime access deal to the software that I'm going to introduce you to in just a second, or there will be a discounted rate for it, meaning that it will still be a good deal to get in. And especially when we start comparing it to other services, ones that I've used in the past, like Instantly or Lemlist, or essentially any other cold email service provider that allows you to send mass cold emails. So with that all out of the way, I say we dive in. So the service that I'm going to be talking with you about today, it's a new one called reachinbox.ai. Now, let me walk you through what this looks like. This is essentially the platform for it inside one of my accounts here. I'll try to shuffle some things around so you can see it a little more clearly, but essentially on the left-hand side here, you've got your email accounts. So for example, I've set up this sample account called myagencyaccelerator.com. So it's a version of agencyaccelerator.io, which is the main program name, but we use this one primarily for cold emails. Then you've got something called your campaigns settings here on the left. This is where you can actually create the campaigns, upload your leads, design your cold emails, design the frequency that they go out. Then you have one box essentially here, which you can see is where you're going to manage all of your conversations. So the beauty of this approach is that we can send out emails from multiple different cold email domains, and they're all going to be sort of consolidated into this one inbox to make sure that you never miss anything. And then it uses AI to mark it as a lead or interested or not interested, et cetera, et cetera. And then lastly, we've got our analytics. Obviously, it's going to be looking a little bit plain right now because I've just, with this account, uploaded like 2 leads. I believe we did a tester lead to make sure that things were set up. I'll show you how to do that properly. And then a lead to myself in order to make sure that the reply feature all worked. Also, I've set up warming for it, which we can talk about later, but you'll see that's what this is here. And so far it's sent 178 warm-up emails, so that now when I go through and I make sure and I run it through the tests, is this email set up correctly? Are my emails actually getting delivered? Does it have a good reputation score between Gmail and Yahoo and all of the other things? It's coming back overwhelmingly positive. And in fact, they're even giving me a health score here of 100. So in fact, let me zoom out and make sure you can see all that. There we have it. All right, we'll do a bit of shuffling and moving things around, but regardless, this is basically it. And it's that green fire thing there that shows us that email warm-up is on. But regardless, this is essentially just the dashboard. This is the easiest part, is once it's set up, it's set up. There's nothing else you have to do. Unfortunately, the setup part is what this training is about, because this is a bit of the bear. This is where we get into the nerdy, techie realm. What I like to tell myself, though, to help make the process of setting these things up more bearable, is that this is where the money is made. It's doing these uncomfortable things that we get out of the way, we do them once, and then you're set up, and you never really have to think about this again. And fortunately, I've put together what I believe is a very comprehensive document. It took me many hours to go and screenshot it all. So I'm going to walk you through step by step what that looks like now. All right, so here we are inside of the reachinbox.ai setup. There's going to be a couple things you're going to want to do right away. The first of which is to click on the link to take advantage of the sign up that's going on right now. Depending on when you're watching this, if it's in the next, say, 30 days from January 4th, or I believe 20 something odd days, there is a lifetime deal associated with it. So I think for $100, you get it forever, up to a limited amount of emails, but more than is going to be enough to sort of get your feet wet and get introduced into this wild and wonderful world of cold email. After that, it will be a discounted rate, which we'll obviously have to keep an eye on, but as long as it's still a good deal, I will still leave this video and training up. So now that we've got that software essentially set up, what we're going to have to do is we do need to start getting domains that we're going to use for our cold email. Now, when we're using high level, we're pretty much using GoDaddy. And the reason that we use GoDaddy to buy domains is because it has a integrated software feature called Domain Connect that allows us to literally just click a button that says connect my domain. It goes to GoDaddy. It automatically imports all of the DNS features. It's the closest thing to magic ever. The reason we use Namecheap, though, for more mass cold email, like we're going to be using through this, is because of the associated email inboxes that Namecheap has and the incredibly discounted rates that they give us. You see, we're not trying to run incredibly sophisticated, beautifully branded HTML emails or anything like that. We're just trying to send volume and value to the people that we're getting in front of. And by using Namecheap, they've got, at least as of right now, very good prices on this. So we can have multiple email inboxes per domain. So let's carry on. Number one, you want to buy a .com domain from Namecheap.com. You don't want .ai, .io, .co, .net, .org, none of that stuff. And the reason is simply because .com has the highest domain deliverability, which means you're going to get the best results from doing it that way. Example here, if we go to Agency Accelerator, we chose myagencyaccelerator.com, but we could have also gone with Grow My Agency or Go Agency Accelerator or growmyagencynow.com. Essentially anything that is loosely, tangentially, somewhat related to the domain that you have is going to work just fine. Okay, next, we need to get email hosting through Namecheap. So once you sign up and you get your domain, you do want to sign up for their email as well. And you're going to want to choose the plan that gives you 3 email inboxes. As of right now, that is called Pro Plan, and you'll see it right there in the middle. And I believe it's $338 per inbox or for all of them or something like that. It's very inexpensive. The reason that we're doing 3 inboxes is because standard practices, best practices when it comes to cold email and setup is that we'll have one domain with somewhere between 3 to 5 different email inboxes for them. If you're going to be sending 100 to 150 cold emails a day, 3 email inboxes it's all you need. You're going to be more than covered. Okay, so once that's selected, we choose use a domain I own with Namecheap, because obviously what we're doing is we're buying the domain in Namecheap, we're buying the email through Namecheap, and now we can link them seamlessly, which again saves us a ton of effort and hassle. Type in and select the domain that you have and hit continue. So in this case, I've chosen My Agency Accelerator. Choose 3 mailboxes and add to cart. Hopefully so far this is pretty self-explanatory. Step 6, click confirm and scroll down to the bottom of the page to approve terms and conditions. This part does require scrolling down to the bottom. I remember the first time I did this, it sounds silly, but I actually couldn't find the terms and conditions. I'm trying to buy it and it's not letting me. So scroll down, save yourself that embarrassment of having a right to support. Number 7, create mailboxes. This is where we're going to go in and actually create the email inbox under Namecheap. Now, what's important to remember here is that we buy the domain in Namecheap, we create email inboxes in Namecheap, but then we link them and sync them through Reach Inbox in order to essentially act as the main tool that we're using, but we're sending it through the Namecheap inbox, which is actually on their software. Kind of doesn't matter. It's just important to know that we do actually need these inside of Namecheap. All right, create your first mailbox, and then as I walk you through this process, it's going to be the same for your second and for your third. If you decide that you want more domains, the process is wash, rinse, repeat. So create mailbox by clicking that button down there. Of course, I'll make sure that you have this document available so you can take a look at it as well. Enter the following information. Number 1, mailbox name. Enter your first name and last name in different combinations, as personal names typically work best for email. So my name being Adam Earhart, I'm going to write like Adam at My Agency Accelerator, Adam.Earhart at myagencyaccelerator.com, A.Earhart, Adam.E, whatever it is. Or you can choose a generic word like support or hi or hello. So I could have support at myagencyaccelerator.com, hi at myagencyaccelerator.com. It's a bit of a mouthful. Mailbox password, choose any password that you like for your mailbox. Make sure that it follows all the usual rules. So 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, a few symbols, some numbers, all of the usual things. And write this puppy down. Gotta write it down. Write it down in like a Word doc, a Notes app. If you have a password saver tool like NordPass or LastPass or 1Password or anything like that, write it down. Not because you don't want to forget it, which is kind of obvious, but also because we're going to need this password a couple other times in order to set everything up. Confirm password, same as above. Mailbox storage, 10 gigabyte, more than fine. My mention there. I use a password app called 1Password, but literally anything will work fine. Just do not forget this because we're going to need it again soon. So here's me screenshotting, entering it into 1Password. Fascinating image. All right, next, create the mailbox. This is what it looks like. Mailbox name. This one is Adam at myagencyaccelerator.com. There's the password. Mailbox storage 10. This is sort of what yours should look like, if not identical. And we carry on. Now, your first email inbox, once this is done, is now configured inside of Namecheap. You're going to want to leave this tab open as we are going to be going back and forth to it as we hop back into Reach Inbox. And we're going to go back here. We're going to get the codes we need. We're going to go back and forth a little bit. And we're going to start to get a little more technical and a whole lot more nerdy. But like I said, this is where the money is made. So step number 10, open reachinbox.ai and click add new mailbox. Important. Obviously, you need to sign up for it first, but once you're signed up and you've verified your email and you're all set up there, click add new mailbox. Next, click IMAP SMTP. You do have options of integrating Google, G Suite, Gmail, as well as Office 365 and Outlook. My recommendation is we do not do those. There is a number of reasons for that. Office 365 is a little bit better than Google right now, but the Google Workspace and Gmail and all of the functionality around that, they kind of frown on cold email for obvious reasons. They want to protect their name and all of that. So they're making it a lot harder to do. But again, a bit of a side note, we're not even looking at that anyway. So we're going to click the bottom one, IMAP SMTP. Click any provider single account. You can bulk import this. Like if you've gone through this process a few times, you can just upload everything into a CSV file and do it. For now, let's do it one at a time. It's good practice. It's kind of like the example I give is building one of those bedside tables from IKEA with like your little tiny Allen key. And like once you build it the first time, it's a nightmare, right? You go through and you're like, what's the H46858B key screw thing? And it's a disaster. But once you've done it once, you're like, man, that was pretty simple. You know where all the pieces are. You could whip those things together like nobody's business. That's kind of what this is. All right. So click that button, then input the following information. You're going to need first name, last name, email, whatever email you just set up in Namecheap was. Password. Again, this is why we're writing it down. Whatever password you just set up in Namecheap was. IMAP, you're going to use this code. So it is mail.privateemail.com. Privateemail.com is the name of Namecheap's email service. So essentially we're telling Reach Inbox, our cold email software, that, hey, our email is hosted through Namecheap's privateemail.com and then IMAP port 993. Once that's done, next we configure the SMTP settings. Very similar to what we just did. You're going to put in whatever email that you just did in Namecheap, whatever password. Host for your SMTP host is mail.privateemail.com, and your SMTP port is 587, and it's going to look a lot like that. Your email is now connected inside Reach Inbox. Leave this tab open as we're going to be returning here in just a few minutes. Remember, we're going to go back from our Namecheap, back to our Reach Inbox, back to our Namecheap. We're copying and pasting all kinds of our formulas, but let's keep rocking and rolling. All right, step 15, head back to Namecheap, and this is where we're going to add our SPF, our DKIM, and our DMARC records. Now, we don't need to go into the very nerdy specifics on what all of these are, but these are essentially proof that we own these email inboxes. They're ours, they're legitimate, and they're not spam. They're not terrible. Come on, Google, Gmail, let us in. We're going to be okay. We're like your friendly neighbor that brings over the the good beverages to the barbecue. So that's what all of these do. These tell them, they give all of the right signals to make sure that we don't get blacklisted or blocked or sent to spam. Sadly, they're also kind of a pain in the butt to do. So we got to go through here. First of all, let's do SPF. So you want to click Details, then you click Advanced DNS. You can see details right there at the top. Then Advanced DNS, which is basically going to take us over to the other tab. We're going to be spending a lot of time in there. Then Add New Record, which appears down there. Once that's done, enter the following details for the SPF record. You're going to want to make this a text record, a TXT record. So you're going to be able to add all kinds of new records. There's A records and C names. There's MX records for email, but here we want TXT, text. The host is going to be the @ symbol, and the value is going to be this bad boy right here. V equals SPF1 include underscore SPF.private email, Again, copy and paste this. TTL, just make it automatic. You can also put it to a minute. Doesn't really matter that much there. Once that's done, next we're going to configure the DKIM record. We have two different ways of basically setting this up. Here, what we want to do, step A, click Products. Step B, select Manage from the drop-down menu. Step C, show DKIM. And now you're going to see it right down there. It's going to be this long, ugly, all of these codes are long, ugly, confusing codes. I don't know why they do it that way, but that's what we got to roll with. So private email, pro email subscription, my agency accelerator, show DKIM. That opens it up and it's going to show this thing. Copy the DKIM DNS record and paste it into a Word doc for formatting. Maybe in the future, they're going to get better at auto formatting these, but for now, we have to do a little bit of copy and paste, cut and paste magic. So copy this over, put it into that Word doc where you have your email address, your password, all of the things that you've been doing. And, well, let's get formatting, my friend. So here's how you properly format your DKIM record so it can be used. First of all, when you copy and paste, it's going to look something like this big, ugly wall of text. I want you to use the part highlighted in red, this default ._domain key as the host. So that's what you're going to put there. And then you'll see right there, that's what it looks like. And then we're going to use the blue part here as the value. Now, what's important here is you want to make sure that you're not using this quote mark and the parenthesis or the brackets or anything like that. You just want something that looks like this for the host and something that looks like this for the value of it. So you can see red part in here, blue part in here. All right, moving on. Step E. Enter the records under Advanced DNS, same as you did before for the SPF. So again, it's going to look like this. Here's where we put it. We create a text record, TXT. Host, default, ._domain key, that's the red part. Value equals whatever you copied and pasted, that's the blue part. Do not use the quote marks or the parenthesis. And you're going to drop that in there. Now, we're going to talk DKIM here. You can get additional information from Namecheap if this wasn't clear enough. In my view, this was more clear than they make it, but if you'd still like a little bit of extra clarification, I won't be offended. This is messy stuff. So feel free to click the link, head over to Namecheap, and they'll walk you through it exactly what they believe you should do. All right, let's go DMARC time. Step 17. Now, still inside of Advanced DNS, add the following DMARC record. This is one of those that is very important to make sure that you're not getting flagged as spam or just a ridiculous email that is totally untrue. You do want these things. So text record, host _DMARC, and then value, this one here, V equals DMARC1, P equals reject, PCT equals 1. What we found is that this works for most people, most of the time. There are definitely other DMARC records that you can use. You can use, for example, P equals quarantine. You can have none. You can have all kinds of different variables. Start with this one. If it doesn't work, you can switch it up. You can change things. Very easy to do. It's just, again, a very simple record that we're creating inside of Namecheap that you'll see here. So by now, you've created your SPFs, your DKIMs. Now we're doing our DMARC. So add the text record, _DMARC. Copy and paste that guy in there. The alternative is that this link right here, which is Easy DMARC. And what Easy DMARC does is allow you to essentially create a custom DMARC for your domain. If you have just one domain, it's totally free. If you have, I believe it's 2 domains, it starts to go to like $30 a month and whatever it is. I've found that for most people, most of the time, you can just copy and paste this thing over here and you're going to be okay. If you want to be a little bit extra cautious, you can go here. This is especially useful seeing as we're only going to have 1 domain for cold email to start and 3 email inboxes under it. And 1 new DMARC record will allow you to cover all of those bases. I appreciate it. Even as I'm saying this all out loud, it sounds ridiculously nerdy and techy. But again, we're almost done. Step 18, finally, update URL redirect record to send traffic to your primary domain. This part is important. So what this means is that when we're sending cold email out to potential clients and prospects, we're not sending it from our primary domain. So for example, the primary domain of the Agency Accelerator is agencyaccelerator.io. That is our domain. I don't mind that it's .io because we don't use it for cold email, so deliverability isn't really an issue. But when I start sending cold emails from myagencyaccelerator.com, if they go to that domain and they just click it in, there's obviously no website there because it's just for cold email. So by putting in a URL redirect, now if somebody copies and pastes that URL into their website, it automatically redirects and forwards them to agencyaccelerator.io, which is incredibly important because you have to understand smart and savvy business owners will be Googling or copy and pasting the URL from your cold email to do a little bit of due diligence and a little bit of research on you. And if it just takes them to a page that doesn't exist, it ain't gonna look very good. So we have to set these up. Lucky for us, really easy to do. We put in URL redirect, we use @ for the host, and then you put in the value of whatever it is, the website that you want to redirect to, and we can leave it unmasked. And that is it. All right, still with me. You've got your tabs open. We're going to hop back into Reach Inbox. Now, back in Reach Inbox, we're going to click this domain setup test button to verify that everything is set up correctly. And this is another reason that I'm really liking this software is that I can go through all of this right away and it's going to go to my domains. It's going to check everything, make sure that my SPF, my DKIM, my DMARCs, all of my DNS settings, everything is set up properly. And if it is, you're going to get all DNS are verified, which is what you want to see. If you do not get that, which I can almost guarantee the first few times I've set these things up through different cold email softwares, I didn't get this. We just have to go back through the steps, make sure that everything is copied and pasted correctly. Look out for quote marks, extra periods or parentheses or brackets, things that shouldn't be there. Try to follow this document as closely as possible. Also, you can reach out to reachinbox.ai support. They've been really good. They actually helped me to put together this document in the first place to make sure that I didn't miss anything and gave everyone the most accurate information. So once that's done, now we're going to click these 3 dots to the right of the domain and click warm up settings and then enable to begin the email warm up process. And this for me is one of the most important steps in setting up cold email is making sure that you're running warm up for your emails. And this isn't a one-time thing. We run warm up pretty much all of the time because if we're sending out tons of emails to potential clients and potential prospects, and a few of them mark us as spam, that's not great, but it's terrible if everyone marks us as spam and we don't have any warm up going on with people being like, yeah, this is actually a really good email and thank you for sending this, because it makes it look significantly more valid and legitimate. So that's it. Warm up settings, we get it warming up, and then we let it go. So let's talk timelines here for a bit, and then I'm going to dive into a few more notes to really help polish this thing off. The first thing is, if you're even slightly considering cold email, which you absolutely should be, it is just a phenomenally powerful tool to use. The very first thing that you want to do, like as of today, is number 1, go buy yourself at least 1, if not 2 domains that you plan on using for cold email. So if your agency is like Plumber Marketing Pros, go buy myplumbermarketingpros.com. Go buy plumbermarketingproonline.com. Go buy plumbermarketingonlinepros.com. Buy those domains and let them just sit there, because one of the biggest factors for email spam trigger ratings or anything like that is how long the domain has been registered for. And less than 7 days, not great. 14 days, a little sketchy. More than 30 days, really good. So we want to, even if you're not planning on sending cold emails in the next 30 days, that's perfect. Go buy those domains right now and get them sitting there so they can at least start to accrue a little bit of reputation behind the scenes. The second thing is, once that's done, start warming these things up right away, because that way you're going to be able to send cold emails when you're ready, and you're not going to have to go through all of this process and then wait 7 days, 14 days, 30 days for your domain to get recognized, for your reputation to build up, for the email warm up to start going through. This really is one of those powerful preventative tools that is going to make sure that you're armed well to do all of your cold email in the future. So again, really can't stress it enough. We should be doing cold email. This is a good way to do it. Start it today. All right, next, let's talk about some additional notes. One of the big questions is, what about MX records for anyone that has ever set up an email account before? For example, what we teach inside of the program is we buy our primary domain. So for example, agencyaccelerator.io, we put the website on High Level. We can do it through High Level's website builder. We can do it through WordPress, whatever it is, but we connect the website there. But then we put our email through Google Workspace. So we're essentially sending all of our DNS records and our CNAMEs and our A records and all of that to the website. But then we have the email, which is the MX records, pointing to Google Workspace, and we can have them point in different directions. Well, that's good for your main domain, but for your emails, these cold email domains, the MX records are done automatically because we're using Namecheap's email servers. So you don't actually need to add any special MX records. You'll see right down there at the bottom, the MX records are set through selecting private email, and that looks after that for you. Next thing, we talked about this really quickly before, but you can essentially, the tool that you can use to get a specific custom DMARC record for your domain, you can also use to test if your DMARC and your SPF and your DKIMs are set up correctly. So you just go to this website here, then you type in the domain once things are set up, and it's going to show you, yes, it's set up correctly. No, there's a problem. Here's what we suggest doing instead. Very valuable tool. The other thing is this tool, which I swear by. I believe you're limited to 3 tests a day, so use them cautiously. Also, don't test them right away because things aren't set up. You've got to give it like 7 to 14 days, make sure all of your records are good, go through your warm-up first. But once that's done, you want to send through Reach Inbox an email to whatever this email address is. So how this works is you'll essentially go to Reach Inbox, you'll upload a new lead, you'll make sure the email address is whatever this one is here. It repopulates and creates a new one every time you go there. You'll send an email to that address, then you'll click check your score, and it's going to give you a ranking out of 10 on how reputable, how spammy your email looks. The higher the number, the better. So you're looking for like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. If for some reason you've got like a 3 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10 and you're getting docked -3 points, it'll show you why. So maybe your DKIM record's set up wrong, your DMARC is wrong, and then it'll show you what to do instead. You can fix that, and then you can get your reputation back up, which will ensure that your emails actually land in your prospect's inbox instead of in spam or junk. All right, final point, and we'll wrap this up. How many email inboxes do I need? So the way that not just Reach Inbox, but most sort of cold email servers recommend is that we send 50 emails per day per inbox. This helps avoid, again, spam triggers, red flags, anything like that coming from Google or Yahoo or anything. If we're sending like 5,000 emails from the same inbox, you're going to get flagged. They're all going to spam. So we send 50 per day per inbox, which means if you want to send 1,000 a day, you need 1,000 divided by 50, so 20 email accounts. This way, we'll keep going through the math. So therefore, it's recommended we create 3 to 5 email accounts per domain, which means for 20 email accounts, you'll need 4 to 7 domains. Again, this is a pretty aggressive cold email strategy. It's certainly something that you're going to possibly want to do as you scale your agency up to 7 figures and beyond. But if you're just getting started, this is really all you need. 1 domain, So go buy that one single domain, get 3 email accounts like we talked about right from the beginning. This is going to allow you to send 50 emails per day from email account, which is going to give you anywhere from 100 to 150 emails per day, which is more than enough because we don't have to send them all today. We can send them today and then tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and we can carry on. And as we refine our strategy, we can amp it up from there. So a whole lot of stuff there. I think final point that I want to bring you to is just the page to make sure you take advantage of the offer. This is roughly what it's going to look like. I'm going to zoom it in properly, depending on when you take advantage of this. So I believe this deal expires in the next 27 days. This is a lifetime deal for it, which is the reason that I was so excited to get in on it. Because most of the other softwares that we've used like this, for example, Instantly, Smart Lead, they're normally $50 to $100 per month. So essentially we've paid back for the month in one month. Sounds like I work for the company. I totally don't. I just think it's good. And anytime I come across a piece of software like this that has a lifetime deal, I like to be the one to take advantage of it because I've paid a lot of money for Instantly and I have to pay that month and month and month and month. There also, I believe, is a 30-day money back guarantee. So again, sign up for it, get your one domain, set it up, start warming it up, test it out. You can do basically all of this in those 30 days. And if for some reason you're just like, I forget cold email, I'm not doing this, whatever it is, you can just cancel and get your money back. So I think that's it. With all that said, I'll make sure that you've got a link to that document so you can go through things step by step. And otherwise, let's have some fun. Let's make some money. Talk to you soon.